Returned have I from the halls of Amenti, returned have I from the darkness and back into the light from the place of the dweller. I find that my teachings have become twisted and my initiates corrupted. They have shared my wisdom with the men of the north. They have desecrated my temple and my teachings and turned them into tools to become gods among men, handing out justice with one hand while living lives unjustly, beyond judgment, and beyond guilt. These ways are what have destroyed my once beautiful Egypt, whom I had brought wisdom and a path to prosperity to. It has caused the roots of Egypt to become corrupted with rot to the point where my teachings were forgotten, the gods cast aside first into myth and then into oblivion, and now my once great nation who questioned whether they would outlast time itself has all but been carried away into the sands of the desert and lost like the ancients of old. I will deal with them in good time and bring my curse upon them as I have said, but for now I feel the necessity to finish what I had not long ago. Things are in a blur and my memory is not yet clear, for my books were not here awaiting as I had asked, so some of my knowledge is somewhat lost to me still. But the source of my knowledge is here ever faithfully and has helped much in restoring my former knowledge. I remember that the Emerald tablets were not finished and that there was still one last chapter that I had not yet covered that I shall attempt to finish here now. The final tablet was to be of that which I called the Chaos Power. Know that I am the one known as Thoth, a being that comes from a race of the magically adept. Though in this era of man science prevails over the old ways and the ways of old have become things of legends and myth, they failed to realize that the old ways of magic is but a form of their science, the science of the earth, the seas and the sky, how it functions and how an individual can tap into that fundamental force that makes it all possible so that he may understand it on every detail and thus command its principles. In all the lives I have lived I believe that my lifetime as Thoth, who was referred to as the Venerated One, referred to this incarnation of his, me, as the Ascended Master who exists at the end of time, which rests in a time not yet conceived by men at that time. So to save confusion between us I shall refer to myself as the Ascended Master and Thoth as the Venerated One. As was before, so too it is again that my time again grows short and I must soon depart back into the darkness, but this time when I emerge from the place of the dweller I shall transcend beyond the halls of Amenti and into the halls of time. Back I shall travel in spirit to the beginning and take with me my book that is an accumulation of my knowledge that is perfected through the philosophy and wisdom of mankind's science and knowledge. The core reasons as to why I am the first and last of his incarnations at the end of time, for in truth it is not time itself that is ending but my forward progression through it. For the next chapter that will begin when I emerge from the dweller's place will be at the beginning. But enough of these things to come and to the topic at hand. The Chaos Power. This magic has to do with a magic far greater and stronger than that of the magic of the living Mother Goddess from whose mana pools we all draw our power from. The Chaos Power is a magic that draws its strength from the heavenly bodies and can be a force that can move mountains and control the very fabrics of that which is around us. To become adept and able to tap into this power one must do so during specific times of the year. Just as those who draw their mystic powers from the mana pools of the Earth's life stream, but to do so one must first immerse themselves in its energy and become merged with its essence, so too must you draw from the universe's life stream known as the Soul Forge. It too flows through the universe just as the life stream flows through the Earth. As above so too shall it be below. The Soul Forge is the source and origin of all souls and life force energies of all sentient life that exist, and so too is it from where a new magic and new power shall be drawn. The process I shall explain here in this era of time's terminology without the language enunciations of my former life. During the equinox and solstices of the Earth is when the shield that protects us from the radiation of space is at its highest and lowest points of energy disbursement. The winter equinox is when it is at its lowest as it marks the end of the seasonal cycle, and so too is its energy levels low. The summer solstice is when it is at its highest as it marks when the seasons rejuvenate, the Nile rains flourish and life returns, as does the shield's energies that are generated in the core of our planet and charged through the year as we spin on our axis. The friction of motion builds up an energy emission as the nuclear fusion that occurs in the core of the planet and the heavier element-filled magma that is mixed with iron ore and nickel rotate in different directions, which causes friction dispersed in the form of gravitational waves. Also, the moon that rotates around our planet is magnetically locked with this magma layer, and that lock stabilizes the opposite rotation effect. The gravitational waves build up momentum and raises into the sediment of our crust, and as it passes through solid matter, those gravitational waves transition into sound waves that can be detected at 7.84 MHz. As these sound waves continue to travel around the Earth and encounter other patterns of the same sound waves, they begin to merge into streams of converged wave patterns that resemble rivers or veins that carry blood through our bodies. When these sound waves breach the surface, without the solid matter to inhibit its flow, the converged sound waves separate and spread out. As it does so, it transitions again, this time into kinetic energy waves that become electrically charges as it rises in altitude. When the exact opposite polarized energy waves interact during storms, because of the dense moisture in the air, causes lightning bolts to form and strike from the ground up, because that is where the source of the energy is coming from. The water bridges that electrical connection, allowing the entire energy wave of both opposing polarized energy waves to suddenly react and overcharge themselves. At the end of the seasonal cycles, the shield dips down close to the surface and attaches the freshly polarized energy waves and transfers it to throughout the entire shield around us, reaching its peak by the time of the summer solstice. During these times, cosmic energies are able to come close to the surface, and if certain stellar bodies are aligned in conjunction with our planet, then the friction between our two worlds builds up an energy wave as well. As noted in the astrological zodiac, each planet is associated with an element as well as a certain human emotion. In turn, that human emotion can be located in a specific chakra of our life force. When we align all these conditions during an equinox and open the proper chakra that is associated to the planetary body aligned with us at that time, signified by the associated emotion between the chakra and the planetary body, then we can imbue our life force to become merged with the planet's associated element, as well as bridging an empathic connection to the planetary body. Increasing that effect to encompass a larger cosmic empowerment is during the passing from one age to the next. During these times, entire constellations are aligned with our planet, increasing our range of empathic connection to a large body of multiple galaxies, thus allowing a state of human cosmic awareness to be achieved. During the lunar eclipse and solar eclipse, these cosmic energies become focused and concentrated. To immerse one's self and fuse these energies to your life force, 2 gems are needed. One is the gem of your birthstone. These stones resonate like a tuning fork with the energies your body were first saturated with when you were first born, so they vibrate specifically to your life force's energy, creating a direct path into your core life force pattern. The second gem needed is the gem that represents the planetary body that is aligned with the Earth. These gems are tuned specifically to that planet's resonating gravitational effects and will draw upon that energy as it passes through the Earth. Wear them upon your person through the event, and this will draw those specific energies into you and fuse with your life force. This concludes my final tablet, which was an unfinished work I was unable to complete at that time when I was the venerated one. Soon I shall pass into the darkness and across the ages. I will stand before the venerated one and shall impart to him a copy of my knowledge before continuing my journey to its destination 220 million years into the past, to a time when a much more advanced civilization than even mankind today lived upon this earth. This knowledge will be incorporated into their rudimentary knowledge matrix, and I shall live through the aeons again and again until I feel as though my journey is complete and break the cycle of eternal life by merging the knowledge of the one who has lived through the ages with the knowledge of my present state, so that we become one being, one chain of memories and one path of destiny, where I shall continue my march forward in the flow of time.